right. Hello and welcome to another episode of Stream It Live. I'm your host, Tony Kipkemboy, and I work on developer relations for Streamlit at Snowflake. For today's show, we're exploring data visualization and animation with our special focus on Vizzu. Vizzu is a tool that's transforming how we interact with data through animations and storytelling. And to discuss this topic with me, I am joined by the CEO and co-founder of Vizzu, Peter Vidos. Peter, welcome
Hey
to Stream It Live.
Tony. Hey Tony, great to be here.
Yeah, great to have you on. Absolutely.
So can't wait to talk about animated charting and do a deep dive and discuss the integrations with your stuff and our stuff and how it makes Streamlit users capable of building some really cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this will be a very intriguing conversation to have and hopefully enrich our audience with some tools that they can go start building more better visualization and animations. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, and so before we even get to that and get started with that, let's talk about you a little bit and just want to get a background of who you are and also what inspired you to create Vizzu.
Yeah, thanks. So, and sorry for the sore throat. It seems like I prepped the Leonard Cohen special for the viewers for today. Yeah, I've been working on the field of startups and digital products for over 15 years already. Oof. And there was a time around 10 years ago when we were doing a data visualization tool that helped online media outlets visualize their traffic real time and have a good understanding of where the traffic is coming from and what are the articles that people are interested in. And so I had a colleague there. He was actually one of the founders of that company too. And he continued on basically researching the capabilities of visualization, especially animated visualization. And he came up with the concept of Vizzu. And then, we basically teamed up together with this is Andrew Kanyal, and then
Okay.
my third co-founder, Simon, came on board. Actually, the two of them built the first prototype, and then I got involved, and we've been building this ever since. So that's the short story of me coming up on becoming the CEO of a data visualization startup, and so here I am.
There you go. Awesome. We're glad you took this path. Now we have you here to talk about it even more in depth, and our audience will definitely benefit from this. And so, thank you for giving us that quick rundown of kind of the origins of Vizzu and also your journey as well. So, maybe somebody's listening right now and is like, okay, yeah, I get it, but what is Vizzu actually? If you can give us a description of what Vizzu is.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try to give it a very short description and then I'll start just showing you stuff because
Yeah.
whenever you're talking about data visualization, it's much better to show what you're talking about.
Yes.
So basically, Andrew's theory was that it's really so data visualization don't have the role it should when we're working with data. It's like this. It only comes at the end when we're done with analyzing the data and we're always doing everything else with data with very abstract tools such as computational notebooks or pivot tables or spreadsheets. Whereas if we could visualize the data right from the start and then fiddle with it visually, basically creating a GUI of data, then that would make it much more like intuitive for a lot of people to understand and have a sense of their data and make choices, dig deep, understand what's going on there, and also share their findings. So this was the drive for Andrew, and he realized soon enough. And then I'm going to just start sharing my screen and show you a little bit of a presentation that I used to just describe what Vizzu is. So he realized early enough that we would need to have some sort of a generic charting engine in order to build this GUI of data. And Simon built this together based on Andrew's research. And so the core of Vizzu is basically a generic charting engine that can interpolate, so morph the charts that are expressed on its interface. And as you can see from the sample animation, we have a ton of different charts that we can do using the same logic, using the same engine. So basically, this is, as I said, the vision that we have, intertwining, analysis, and storytelling. These are some conceptual animations that from the early times that Andrew created on the left side, and the stories. I'm going to just show you a ton of those, so you'll have a better understanding of those very soon.
Yes.
Animation is obviously great for the storytelling bit. And then historically, we basically just open sourced it pretty soon. So the core engine we built in C++ back in 2020, 2021. And
Yep.
then we raised some angel funding here in Hungary, where we reside. And we built our first product, which is an open source JavaScript charting library. And then from that point on, we switched our focus towards data scientists, because we realized they might be in need of our storytelling technology. And so that's why we released IPy Vizzu and then IPy Vizzu Story. And then an important other point is missing from this slide, when we actually, together with Zachary Blackwood, senior data analyst at Streamlit, built the integration with Streamlit that opened up new use cases that I'm going to just talk about in a bit. And if I can show you just one story, like what is, because the storytelling use case, I think, is really interesting. And this is just an example that you can find on our documentation site.
Yep.
So, for example, this is just how much money the federal government spent on things they call R&D, so like health, space, science, energy, and whatnot.
Yep.
And when you have an animated data story, you can just see the components side by side, and you can just add the defense as a separate step. And since you already understood the context and you just change one bit at a time, it creates an impact of like, okay, so the federal government does spend a lot on defense, and did so over time,
Yeah.
and switch between values and proportions very easily, very intuitively. Whenever you're telling a story like this, you don't have to keep on explaining for the audience what they can see on the chart. Like, for example, we zoomed in on now the first and the last bit, which is, again, very intuitive because of the animation connecting these views. And just by rearranging the elements, we can see how the components changed from the very beginning to the very end. And so these are just some very simple examples for using Vizzu and the Vizzu technology.
Yeah.
If you go on our documentation site, you'll have these examples, and then you also have the Python code there. We used to generate these examples. So that was the original way, I'd say, we used to try and help people learn about what we do. And
About
so that's, yeah,
yeah.
that's the story in a nutshell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's amazing to get that background story and also get some kind of like visualizing to see how things can be built. These animations can be built. And I think it's very important that storytelling is always kind of left at to the end, like you mentioned, and I think that's the
Yeah.
most important bit. You can have all the data, you can have all the insights, but if your presentation just doesn't sink in well with the audience, then you kind of lose them at some point. So I think it's very important to have this storytelling piece with animations.
Absolutely. That's what we learned as well. And we made some surveys among data scientists and business
Yeah.
professionals, and asked them how much time they spend whenever they do a presentation about the research, the
Yeah.
results of research, basically. Like how much time they have to spend on explaining what's on the chart and explaining what the insight is. And on average, it was like around half. So like half the time people are talking about what they're looking at
Yeah.
instead of talking about why it matters. So
Exactly.
obviously, with the use of animation, the explanation for what you're looking at is can be shrink down like very much. So
Yeah.
to a lot less degree.
Absolutely, and it's also very memorable for even after the presentation. And so, kind of switching gears and going out to the demo itself. First of all, thank you for shouting out Zachary, and I want to highlight that. Thanks, Zachary. He did a good job with kind of creating that component that
Absolutely.
anybody can build a Streamlit app and plug iPy Visual in, and they can have a great, amazing application to showcase. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll definitely let you talk about it a little bit, and then hand it to you to kind of guide us through the demos.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, I'm also very super grateful for Zachary. Great guy, very helpful,
Yep.
very much to the point. And so basically, our idea was that we would want to open this up and not only enable people to build stories slide by slide,
Yeah.
but already enable them to build interactive reports and dashboards, and then somehow intertwine reporting with storytelling. And the Streamlit Vizzu integration, this bidirectional component that Zachary built with some help from our team, so basically we collaborated on this, makes it all possible. So let me just really quickly show you a couple of examples, what we have here, and also I'll show you the code that runs in the background. And I'm just trying to set everything up in a way that you will be able to see it. So
Awesome.
just a second, I'm going to share my entire screen. So we're going to have the window effect, but whatever. Okay, so one of the first app that I wanted to show you here is the Intro to Streamlit app. I'm running it locally for performance reason because I want to fiddle with it a little bit, but you can find it if you go to intro-to-vizzu-in.streamlit.app. And the link will be shared in the show notes. So basically, there's just a very simple plot, and here's a widget from Streamlit, and if I click on it, then it just swaps the configuration. So what's on X goes to Y and vice versa. And so code-wise, it's a very, very simple code. So we basically create a Vizzu chart. We have to import the Streamlit Vizzu component and some elements from it. But then what we do here is we create a super simple data frame. We add that to the data object of the Vizzu Streamlit charting object, and then we basically just create a chart, call the animate method of the chart, add the configuration, say like the categorical value should be on the X, the value should be on the Y, and this is the title. And then if the ST checkbox is checked, then the configuration changes. So the value goes on the X-axis and the categorical data goes on the Y-axis, and that's that. And we just call the chart show. It's sometimes even not even necessary to do that. So it's just a very simple code, and you already have interactivity and you already have the animations there. So another, again, very simple implementation of this is this. It shows data from how much revenue different music formats generated over the years in the US. And so with this slider, you can basically change for what year the data is shown, like that. So the user can do that, obviously. And again, the code for this is very, very simple. It basically, we use as we did before. And then what we do, we add an ST slider widget with the values, and then we read that value to the year variable, and then we basically just add it to the filter bit of the Vizzu chart and say like, sorry, actually this should be, it equals the year. And so you see, I'm just changing the code, I rerun it, and then values are changing to only show the data for that specific year. Earlier, it showed all the year for the data and automatically summed up the revenues for all the years before 2013. And that's okay. So you can obviously do that too, and say like, but then, you know, it's just important to make it clear for the viewers what they're looking at. And so it's music revenues before 2013. And then it's that easy to change and understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you just some more examples. I'm not going to go down to show the code because we don't have that much time, but I encourage you to go to the Intro to Vizzu and Streamlit app and check out the code on GitHub. They are pretty straightforward. And so the bidirectionality, so that the component can send back data to Streamlit, is very well shown by the fact that you can actually use clicking on elements to zoom in. So it's, again, the music revenues data, and if the user moves their chart, moves their cursor and clicks on any of the elements, then it should be, yeah, that's gonna, yeah, looks like we have some issue. It might be because of the tooltip. Yeah, I'll need to double check it. That's the issue with live demo, but it should be zooming in on that year. Another use case is this Explorer it's a little more complex, as you can see. Once again, we're using the music data because we don't want to, keep changing that for the sake of the demo. So here you have a central chart, the music revenues by year, and then the user can change, for example, the time frame the data is shown. They can adjust the values for inflation. They can show volume instead of revenue. They can choose to see the format, so aggregated by format instead of by year. Add additional formats that are in the data, and then sort them by value. So it's basically, with the use of the Streamlit interactive widgets, people can just explore this data visually. It's like there are a lot of controls around here, so it's a little overcrowded, but still, people can generate a ton of different views that they're interested in. And in the meantime, in the background, something is being created. So if I click on the download story button here, and then I'm going to just download an HTML file
Okay.
on my computer, and reopen it in a sec. So what we see here is an animated data story that contains all the steps, all the views that are generated when I was exploring the data. So imagine this in a business setting. I can just take a look around and analyze the data visually using these controls. And also I can share my findings with anyone. I can just send them as an attachment, as an HTML file. So and obviously, so this is one of the use cases that the Streamlit integration made possible, and that we're just super excited about.
Absolutely. Cool. Yeah, that looks really it looks really nice and easy to kind of get started and building. And it's one of those demos that I think most people will enjoy, to be able to see that and be able to replicate the same thing, or fiddle around with their data and get some good visualizations with that. And so another question that kind of is coming from that: how easy is it for maybe somebody that's just learning about Vizzu? The code seems a bit complicated, maybe in the back end for them. Is there maybe like a playground they can just kind of play around with first and maybe see how it looks like, and then get the code for it as well?
Yeah, that's a brilliant question, and thanks for joining in. And I would encourage everybody viewing this live stream to do that, and add more questions and comments. We're all about feedback, and as an early stage startup, we love to learn about what we do. So yeah, I mean that's a spot on observation, and this is something we learned also along the way, that and this refers back to the origin story of Vizzu. So basically, when you're creating a generic chart morpher, and then you add these technologies on top of one another, C++, JavaScript, Python. At the end, you end up with a very abstract thing, which is the opposite of what we
Yeah.
wanted to do.
Yes.
But that's what brings the technical capabilities. And then once we're there, we can start to simplify it and minimize the burden for the user. Let there be a Streamlit user, data scientist coding in Python, or a business user who don't want to code at all, and enable them to just utilize the benefits of this technology without having to understand anything about animated charting and about this level of abstraction that we apply in the background. My favorite example is that I, for one, know very well that a donut chart is a single bar chart that is stacked, that's put into the polar coordinates instead of the Euclidean coordinates. But nobody else is actually interested in that. And
Yes.
I know that because that is the approach we take. So once we realized this, I mean, it was always keen for us to just kind of hide this logic and make it easy for people to play with the technology. And this is like another app that I just want to show you real quick. This is, I also grabbed it. Here you go. So this is called the Vizzu Builder app. And you can, you can check it out. I'm sure you'll be sharing the link. It's like Vizzu Builder.Streamlit app. And so basically what you can do here is you can start using Vizzu without coding anything. It serves three purposes. First one is just to help you get started and generate nice Vizzu charts without getting your hands dirty with the code. The other thing, it helps you to build an animated data story just by clicking around. Sorry, again, a no code use case. And the third thing it does, it generates the code for you so that you can reuse it in a Streamlit app or in a notebook, wherever you want it. So basically, it's a three-step thing. You have to upload your data, or you can just use this toggle and use the sample data. It's some mock sales data that's in there. Then you can configure your data. It's only necessary really when you're using your own data. With the sample data, that's not important. Only except maybe for the filter, but I'm going to show you how that works. And here is where you configure your chart, basically just selecting, okay, I'm going to have the year and the quarter and the number of items sold, and it should be summed. And then I'm just click on create charts, and then we have to wait a bit because this is quite a memory intense thing that's happening in the background. There are a lot of Vizzu charts being generated. Yeah, so as you can see, we have just generated like 18 different charts that all contain the same data, year, quarter, and the number of items sold. And it shows this data in a ton of different well-known charts. And so for each of the charts that are generated, you can check the code for. So here you have the Python code for this chart. It's quite verbose intentionally. So we set everything right so that everybody can use that as a starting point. But you don't necessarily have to understand each part. And you can also add these charts to a story. So let's just say I add this to the story. I'm going to, and then it runs a bit in the background. I'm going to add this to the story. And then, yeah, it's just, I don't know. So yeah, I'll just pick another one. Maybe this one, whatever. That's not the point here. So to make a real story. What happens is that right beneath the chart samples, a story appears. Should be there. Yeah, here you go. So that contains all three slides, all three charts that I just added. If I go back to the beginning, I can just go through them. And obviously these are all connected via the animation. And I can just download the story again as an interactive HTML. I can delete the last slide. So that's kind of help you edit and your story and create something that you want. And we also have the code for the whole story with the slides and styling and whatnot. So again, a great starting point if you want to build a story and then want to fine tune the visuals, maybe use a different palette for the, for so different colors for the markers or things like that. You can do anything you want. And yeah, just for the filtering bit, I think it's an important thing that actually filtering in this animated chart is equals to zooming. So I can just say that I want to have on the quarter side only, and it reads in the background what are the elements of the quarter. So like, I don't know, the first two, and I'm going to remove the other two. And it means that when I hit on update charts, basically only those elements remain on the chart that represent quarter number 1 and 2. And if I add it to the story, it's going to have the same effect as we saw with the federal budget, where we zoomed into the first and the last bit. And it's going to be, once again, very, very straightforward. So I'm going to try and do a live demo of, no, I think we should go to questions maybe, because I had planned to show you how to reuse the code building a Streamlit app. I'm going to just do that later and edit on our YouTube channel, and maybe I'm obviously add the link to the show notes. But basically, it's pretty straightforward to just copy and paste one chart and then parameterize anything like what's on the x-axis and connect it with a Streamlit interactive widget. I just want to make sure that we have time for the questions.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think that kind of teases the how our users can actually go use this today. And I personally, for one, I've enjoyed going on a documentation for a specific software or tool that I want to work with, and then I always enjoy they have a playground where I can play around with the settings, and then I also have the options to kind of get the code for that like a setting that I just played around with and download it and kind of go use it in my own application as a kind of like a starting boilerplate. And being able to see that with Vizzu, I think that's also very important. And the fact that people can log their data, play around with it, see how I like this visualization and I need the code for this, and maybe I can go play with it. I think that's a very important key thing that is very important.
totally, totally. And if I can just add one more last thing, is that as you rightly mentioned, so this is how you can use Vizzu today. And if you go on our you can actually have a glimpse of how tomorrow or like in a couple of months. So this is a video that will restart pretty soon. It runs automatically. So basically, we're building the no code, the completely no code version of Vizzu for data scientists and for business professionals alike. We will still keep the ability for people to explore whatever they do when they build a story. The same, like just clicking around, you can see the user interface of the current alpha version that's already out there being tested by our beloved alpha testers. So
Yeah.
you will have the opportunity to export it to Python and fine tune it. And there's going to be a connection from the no code version back to the coding field, and professionals such as Streamlit users will have the opportunity to reuse whatever they do and whatever they build, and fine tune it, and create amazing experiences, embedding it in Streamlit and things like that. So
Yeah,
we're very
absolutely.
much
That
looking forward.
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable, and I can't wait for that to come out. And also, just within that same vein, are there any other upcoming features or developments within your roadmap that you're particularly interested to share?
Well, the no-code tool is by far the most exciting thing, and I would encourage our viewers to sign up on the wait list so they can be among the first people who can do a test run with it once we open the public beta, and that's going to happen in a matter of months, a couple of
Okay.
months actually. So we're super excited about that, and that brings us closer, a lot closer actually, to realize this vision of creating a GUI for data, building a very intuitive charting experience. So the whole team is mostly focused on that. Obviously, we continue developing the core technology, the charting library behind it, but yeah, keep track of how people are using the Streamlit integration and try helping data people with that. So actually, we're just collecting examples for a page that we are going to set up together to showcase the best examples for using Vizzu and Streamlit. I'd be super happy to help everybody who tries to build something there. And we have the Slack channel that we use, so on all of our sites, and I would encourage everyone to just come on and engage in a discussion with us. And so, for just one example that I think could be interesting for anyone attending this call, is that Streamlit now started suggesting for the cloud users these templates. And I noticed the Interactive Data Explorer template that uses Altair. And Altair is a great tool and it's a great library. But for interactive data exploration, I mean, whenever you hide one line, that's a line chart that's shown there, and it just vanishes and the scale changes. I mean, with Vizzu, that could be a lot more intuitive and more engaging. So if you want to build that, we'd be super happy to support you along the way. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, pretty exciting there. There's definitely a lot there to unpack for sure, and a lot for viewers to kind of play around with and get some really cool data visualization animations they can share to get the audience more engaged. And also, uh, maybe you can touch a little bit on what's been the most rewarding aspect of kind of building this tool for you.
Yeah, so actually the Python community. So I've been a startup founder. I've built products earlier on, but the this sort of welcoming atmosphere, this supportive nature of people. It's I mean, I love it. I love we've iPiVizu just became an affiliated project at NumFocus, and
Yeah.
we're super proud of that. And we've been working with the NumFocus people on crossing all the boxes or checking all the boxes, and but whenever I get invited to a conference or a meetup and go there and talk to people, they are just like, they give us a ton of feedback and
Yeah.
support, and that's very important for an early stage startup like ours. So you people, I mean, the Python people are really the the kind of support mechanism that all of us needed to
Yeah.
get through the the darker times when you're knee deep into features you want to build, and you don't know where what you want to do first, and that helped us a lot. So I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Python community and Python folks, they do rock, and they are amazing. And
Absolutely, and the Streamlit community as well
yeah,
within. So the help we got from Zachary and your former head of data, so that all counts a lot. So opening up new use cases for a little startup that no one has ever heard of, by just giving some help and support like this, it can, yeah, it can make a real difference, and it made for us as well. So I'm super glad to be here, and to say thank you to yeah to Zachary and the others as much as I can, so as many times as I can.
yeah, absolutely. We're glad to have you here as well. And so, as we close out, I know you've mentioned there's a Discord channel. There's also your website people can go to. Are there any other additional recommendations that you might want to guide our audience to if they
It's
want
a
to learn
Slack
more about it?
channel, but it works the same way. So I figure that we have too many sites right now. So
Yes.
I think Vizzu.io would be the best starting point, especially if you want to get involved with the no code tool that we're working on, and those Streamlit apps that we mentioned, the intro app and the Vizzu Builder. Those will be three perfect places to start with. We added the links on the Builder app for the Slack channel, for example, and for other documentational materials. So there's a big rabbit hole here.
Yeah.
We want to lure you in step by step.
Yes. We don't overwhelm everybody, but yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for
Yes.
that.
Yeah, this was pretty cool. And also, just to close out, any final thoughts that you have you want to share with the audience before we close out?
Yeah, just happy to explore. If you start building anything with it, we're here to help. That's all I have. And there are a couple of questions in the chat that I can just maybe really quickly go through. There was like, interactive 3D is coming soon, not very soon, but it's on the roadmap. Any place where I can start track of these online events? That's for you. Yeah. Okay. So some people are interested in how they could know more about the live stream, but that's,
Uh,
I guess.
yes, yeah. This live stream will be live on our YouTube channel, and you can go there. You can watch the entire episode here. It's going to be there for as long as it's there. But yeah,
It looks like they are interested in knowing about the later events earlier on. But I think if they follow you on the social channels, you'll notify them of
yes,
these.
absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, I think that will be a place where if you follow us on our social media channels, we'll definitely we post there a lot, so you'll be able to track and know when the new events are coming on. We do announce those way in advance, so please follow us, and then you'll be able to get those notifications as soon as we post them. And so,
The same here on the Vizzu side. So
yes, absolutely. And so with that, thank you again, Peter, for joining us today. This was really awesome and very insightful. And
thank you. It's
yeah,
been a pleasure. Thank you.
absolutely. All right. And to you, our audience, thank you as well for joining us for this insightful discussion on the future of animated data stories and visualizations with Vizzu. Don't forget to follow us on our socials to catch all our updates and future episodes. And you can go to our YouTube channel and you can watch some of the prior videos and also get notification of the future videos that we have coming. And with that, I just want to say happy streaming and see you on the next event. Bye.